Hey everybody, welcome back to the Get Together podcast. I am Alyssa.
I'm Stacy.
And today we have a super special guest that we haven't seen in quite some time. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Joni Kersey.
And who do you have with you, Joni?
And I am Kyle Lounsbury.
Oh, I didn't know your last name.
I didn't know your last name either.
That sounds so official and fancy.
Say it again.
Lounsbury.
Lounsbury.
How do you spell it?
Lounsbury.
Lounsbury.
Okay, that's what
Now
I was
everyone's
picturing in
gonna
my
look me
head.
up.
It does sound very distinguishing,
Good,
doesn't
it does.
Oh, hello.
From Yorkshire.
Oh.
You need like the handkerchief collar.
Do you remember?
Mr. Lounsbury.
So random, but he just said Yorkshire. Do you remember the Spirit of Jazz thing? She's like, Yorkshire? What is Yorkshire? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I watched it the other day. It popped in my head, and it was like one of those brain rot things that we watched in the 2000s. But
I vaguely remember that.
super random.
Yeah.
I is the Spirit of
missed
Jazz.
that.
Spirit of Jazz.
Anyways,
I
off
just
topic.
found out she liked Dalton Abbey, and
yeah.
Mr. Darcy. So I was
Oh.
like, I've got to be fancy.
Oh, yeah.
Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy.
Yes.
I love
Some
Lounsbury.
Mr. Darcy. We have like a whole string of TikToks back and forth of Mr. Darcy type things. And
What?
Oh, yeah.
there's like a whole section of TikTok that's full of
Mr. Darcy.
Pride and Prejudice.
I'm not on TikTok, but now I may have to get on TikTok.
I fought it as long as I could, and then I was like, dadgummit, people keep sending me videos and I can't watch them, so I downloaded it to watch, and then I was an addict, so that's healthy.
Yeah. It gets to a point where you're like,
Go down the hole.
yeah.
She called me today, actually, and she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, sitting here with my Bible on my lap, but watching TikToks instead. I was like, I'm sorry, Lord. Forget to get a grip on myself.
I love it.
So for our listeners, we don't have a full out plan. This was actually kind of impromptu, if you will, getting together and
Yep.
well, the getting together not so much, but Mr. Lounsbury being here was
He was a surprise.
a surprise.
Indubitably.
Found him out
Just a little
She picked me up on the side of
on
the
the
road.
way here. I was like, hey, you want to come do a podcast? Let's go.
The thumb works.
Oh my gosh. Well, so on that note,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about you
Yeah.
and how you guys came to be here, because you
Yeah.
are not from here. I
Right.
mean, you are, but you know what I mean.
I'm an OG.
You're visiting,
I'm a
but-
native Texan. Oh yeah. So where do we start? Do we start how I know you guys?
Yeah, start there.
Like,
start
just
at
from the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the day you
For
were
us,
born.
it would be the day.
I know. I've
I
known
was
Stacy
born.
since she was
Oh,
born.
well, all right.
Yeah.
Birth story then.
It was a cold night.
It's a cold October evening.
Yeah, so our families grew up together. Our dads were best friends. We went to church together. Stacy's grandparents were my pastors growing up, and then eventually your aunt and uncle. So there's a lot of history there. I was just telling him when we were walking up, we used to tell people we were sisters. And,
Yes.
Yeah. So known Stacy our whole life.
Do you remember when I used to tell you I had asthma in my knees?
Yes.
In your knees?
In my knees.
I mean,
I'd be like, I remember specifically in the church bathroom, I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, my asthma. And you would be like, oh, yeah.
it's a condition a lot of people don't like to talk about. So I'm really glad I was there for you.
Thank you.
And you,
Sorry, I
you've grown
just
out of
wanted-
that.
time of
so
need.
That's great.
Yeah, there, no asthma, no wheezing. It moved up. It moved up.
Double asthma.
Oh, so that's how Stacy and I know each other.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, I went into. Well, let me just tell a little bit of my story since it'll
Yes,
flow a
please
little
do.
bit better. So, I grew up in church. Obviously, we just established that. But then I went to college, went through a season of rebellion, and then in my early 20s, just had like a collision with Christ. And that life-altering moment. And I went into full-time ministry. That's when I got connected with the church we were all associated with. And during that time, just really found what I thought was my passion, which was to be in ministry and planting churches and
Yeah.
serving the community and whatnot. And at that time, one of the founding families in that church was Alyssa's family, the Landers, the great Landers, and which I knew
I guess
you.
they were kind of found. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that
they were there
from the early days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
the
I guess in
church-
that small building before, I always forget about that.
I feel like they came when
They
it was
were
still in the
before
home.
that. I wasn't because
You
I
weren't,
was
yeah.
still going to our old church because I was still in youth, which
Okay.
is weird to think about as well because I was
Yeah.
still a teenager when I met both of y'all.
That's
which
right.
is weird.
Yeah. And so I have many fond memories of your parents, and I knew who you were because we're in the same schooling system, and your sister, and
Oh, did you really?
I knew who she was.
Okay.
But I was kind of in between you guys, I think.
Yeah, well, she's 6 years older than me.
Yeah.
So you may have been closer to her and my brother.
Yeah. So was in the church. I mean, as you guys know this, eventually became the associate pastor leading that church. And Stacy was on the worship team. And obviously I'm skipping out so many stories, right? And then you started coming to the church. We were roommates for a period of time.
That was the Stallone days.
The Stalloni. Yes.
I wonder if we could find those.
I
still
feel
online
like
somewhere.
I've ran across them a few times.
Kyle's lost. So Stalloni was an imaginary band that the three of us created,
Ooh.
and it
On
started because
MySpace.
I had a
MySpace,
a
yes.
keyboard that you could like do the drum patch on, and one night we were just sitting in the floor of this house that we lived in, like making these drum sounds and singing the most absurd fake Indian chants ever.
Shut up. You
Oh,
pirate
yeah.
hooker. Yeah.
Okay, so
That's the best
I
song.
almost texted you or Facebook messaged you the other day. Our wedding thing that everybody signed is hanging like right as you walk into our master bathroom.
Yeah.
And just at eye level is what you wrote. And you literally wrote, remember or don't forget your eye patch is what you wrote. And I see it every
Oh my
so
gosh,
often
I
in
never
my
noticed that.
peripheral vision. I'm like, oh, shut up. You pirate hooker. Another Stallone classic.
Yeah.
For all of
that
the
was a good
fans.
one. That was a good one. Yeah.
We got to find those.
That
That was a
good.
good
somewhere.
time.
That was a good time.
a
That was
good
that was a
season.
time of growing and learning. But so involved with the church for a while, and it just I can't speak for y'all's experience, but for me, it just became an unhealthy, toxic situation, and I felt like I needed to leave, but doing so just meant leaving everything, quite literally.
Yeah.
Everything behind, and didn't have a plan B, and really went into a dark place of depression and not knowing what was next for my future. I didn't have a plan B. And so kind of waffled through life for a while. And in the midst of that waffling, I met my now ex-husband, but we met, and he lived in Delaware. And so I made the move. And
You
so
met him here in Texas?
No, we met online,
Oh, okay.
and we dated long distance, and then decided to make a deeper commitment. And I
Yeah.
made the move up to Delaware, got married, have a beautiful son together, Alec. And unfortunately, that marriage ended, and when I left, again, I was just like in a place of brokenness,
Yeah.
and it was a mess.
Yeah.
And because I don't think I ever properly healed from what I went through with leaving the church, there was a lot of brokenness in that, season, and didn't take the time to properly heal. At this time, I was running from the church versus to the church. And so when that happened, it's like I was just right back in that same dark, broken place.
Yeah.
Not knowing what was next for me and what I was going to do. But at that time, Alec's daycare teacher invited me to church, and went to True Life, and that's where Kyle goes. That's where Kyle goes. Kyle. And at that time, I was in and out of the church. I knew I needed community. I knew I needed healing. I needed a place of refuge. but I wasn't wanting to connect, and I wasn't in a place where I wanted to even make friends.
Yeah.
And so for me, True Life just became that safe space where I could just come in as I needed to. And over a course of about a year and a half, just sitting under the Word, getting in the Word, and being willing
Yeah.
to just put myself in a place where God could do the healing.
Yeah.
And what happened is, that's exactly what happened. The Word just began to do the work and got healthier and whole, and just began to see God redeeming so many areas of my life
Yeah.
and restoring a lot of pieces of me that were broken. And started serving in the church and just becoming more involved and active. And that's really where our paths started crossing, was during that time. Because Kyle was serving in the church. He runs a singles ministry that impacts a lot of the community. And so through our interactions with that, we just over time became really good friends, and, you know, continued to deepen that friendship. And, you know, it's been healing. Getting to know him has been part of the healing process for me as well.
Yeah.
You know, Lisa Turkers, in her book, I Want to Trust You, But I Don't.
Yeah.
You know, she talks about how when you have when something broken happens in a relationship, that we have a tendency to want to avoid relationship after that.
Yeah.
But the only way you can heal from that is to be in relationship again.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't avoid it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, lean into it. That was a lot of talking, sorry.
No.
That's really good. Would you say that I feel like God does this, reveals things that you didn't even realize were broken,
100%.
that needed
Yeah.
mending.
Yeah. And I think that's what I find so beautiful about the redemption process, is because we think that we're a mess because of whatever that one thing that happened to us was. You know, someone hurt us, we went through tragedy, but really it gives us an opportunity to discover places of us that were already in need of redemption that we would have never discovered, you know, needing. I know for me, when I was going through my healing process, I started recognizing areas where I had been prideful and judgmental of others. You know, I never thought I'd be a single mom. I never thought I'd be going through divorce. And I can think back now how harshly and wrongly I judged people that were in those situations.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I would have never known that was in my heart, you know, and I had to repent for that,
Yeah.
you know? And so, yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I've been in a similar space of healing certain things within our marriage personally, but same thing. Like, God revealed to me in my times of hurt things that I hadn't been doing perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's always so gentle, though. It's never like I never felt ashamed for feeling that way. It was just like, he was like, hey, you weren't perfect either. And I was like, oh, snap, I wasn't. It's like, it's always very gentle,
Right.
appreciative of it.
Yeah.
I like too that you didn't like jump right back into ministry. Like,
Yeah. I needed some time.
I think sometimes as
many
Christians
people do
we
that.
Yeah.
get it in our heads that like we gotta hop back in and do the things, you know, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not working for God, so I gotta do something. But sitting for a year, like that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and really, I had been out of ministry for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, initially, I did try to kind of do my own thing, a little bit of a rogue thing, if you will. And that can only last so long before the wheels start falling off.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not connected to the body, you're not doing it in a
Right.
healthy, you're not putting yourself around people holding you accountable and pouring into you,
Yeah.
which I didn't do, you know.
Well, and when you're not whole,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to be in a place to lead
Yeah.
when you're not even
Yeah.
in the place that you need to be.
It's hard to make right decisions. You're absolutely right. Yeah. You know, and to that point, something that I feel like I've learned through this process, back to relationships, and I was just sharing this with my dad last night, actually, and we've all heard this. You know how the Bible, I like to say on my podcast, which I'll I'll tell all you
Oh,
viewers
yeah.
about that in a little bit.
We'll link it in the show notes later.
Totally. But it's about just redemption, and the Bible's one big story of redemption. And if you had to summarize the Bible, it's love God and love others, and we've all heard that. And I was just thinking about this in the last 24, 48 hours. If you wanted to like even more high level summarize that, you could say it's a book about relationship. Relationship with God and relationship with man.
Yeah.
So what is the one thing Satan would want to attack the most? Relationship. Relationship with God and relationship with others, whether that's our marriage, our friendships, our church family, our community. And so it's almost kind of like when we experience damage in a relationship for whatever reason, it's like, oh, this is the schemes of the devil. And this is exactly what the Bible tells us to resist, and, Satan operates through, sorry if I'm getting like a rabbit trail here, but,
You're great.
Satan operates through a spirit of fear, right? And the Bible tells us God didn't give us the spirit of fear. He gave us a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind.
Yeah.
And so when those schemes of the devil through fear, however that plays out in a relationship with others, there's three pillars that God's given us: power, love, and a sound mind. And when fear comes into it, those are the three pillars that are attacked. Our power, which is our ability to stand strong and have the ability to get through tough times with. And I'm thinking through the lens of relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like our power, sometimes we lose that strength to be able to be
Push through
things,
those
right?
hard things,
right, and overcome. The next pillar that gets attacked is our love, and our love is where our compassion and our grace and our ability to forgive one another's. Well, that comes under attack in a relationship, right? And the third one, which I think is one of the most damaging, is a sound mind, and that's our ability to make a good decision, right? Our ability to choose right from wrong, our ability to self-discipline ourselves. It's also our ability to recognize fear in what's going on. And so what better way for the enemy, if he can distort our sound mind, our ability, then he can have access to every part of our life,
Yeah.
And so...
Well, and a good way to get that sound mind to start distorting is isolation. And when you have brokenness with relationships, it's just so isolating. You're like, well, I can't trust, like you said, I can't trust anybody.
Right.
I'm not going to trust that person. I'm not going to,
Yeah.
So you just hold yourself away from people.
And I had a thought today with the sound mind, because that's, our ability to reason, to use wisdom. And to me, that really sounds like a lot like our mental health. And we're under a mental health crisis in America.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And so it's just so evident to me that this is the schemes of the devil,
Yeah.
But yes, that was a long way of answering your question why I'm here today. All the way from Delaware.
Was that the question?
But I think it's perfect.
So good.
It's so good.
It's like I feel like I'm sitting at a mini sermon, and I kind of like it. I'm like, oh.
Honestly,
man.
I needed to hear everything you said. Just
Yeah,
now.
that was good.
I can tell you, my journey's been long and hard, but I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of that process has been a humbling process, a sifting. And, there's a lot of things that I never want to have to go through again, but
Right.
every one of them, man, when you come out the other side of it,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Number one, I'm like, wow, I got through that.
Yeah.
And wow, God still loves me.
Yeah.
And wow, God can still use me,
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
powerful.
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Kyle, would you like to tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, my name's Kyle. If I was to go back, like you're from this area of Texas, I guess you could say I was born in California and lived there for a little bit of a childhood. And then we packed up and moved back to where my parents grew up, which is upstate New York, the middle of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
Dirt roads, and grandparents have 100 acres. And so we lived there for a year or so. And then there's nothing happening. So my parents heard about North Carolina growing. So we packed up and moved on faith and just moved to North Carolina. So that's where I grew up, was down there. And then went to college and such. And I guess, my collision with Christ, to use your verbiage there, was probably around 15. It was a Tuesday night at a church camp, and always was a good kid growing up. And there was one evening where Austin from Texas actually was sharing. So good things are from Texas.
Amen.
He just shared and used a car analogy, and I was really big into cars at the time, and it finally connected with me. And at the moment, I guess there was a lot of pride in me where I thought people thought I was a Christian because I was a good kid. And growing up in a Baptist church, I would always raise my hand, but you say the prayer. But I was never bold enough to stand up before my friends. And finally that evening I stood up and I was like, all right, let's go. And from that point is when my hunger, it was no longer performance driven, where I was trying to be good on my own merit. It became a hunger and a desire for God and knowing who He is and having that relationship that you talked about. And so I dug into the Word and I wanted to share it with everyone. And so helped lead worship a little bit and was always bringing people to church because I wanted them to hear the goodness that I knew and the mercy and the grace and such. And so went off to college, had an opportunity to run D1 track and cross country, which was a great opportunity. And then out of that, had always been an entrepreneur, but had thrown my resume at a couple different locations, and they threw me an offer to Delaware. And I didn't know where that was.
Delaware?
No one does. But packed the bags and moved up there. And it's been an adventure. So
awesome.
Same thing, similar to Joni, is got married, and sadly enough, never saw myself ever ending in divorce. My parents been married for 40 plus years, and grandparents, they were 50 plus years, almost 60 years, and had that picture in my mind, and really wanted to fulfill that. So that really, to be honest, broke that picture frame. But there was a lot of things in my story that needed to be broken, namely pride. There was a lot of, that is something that is very hidden. And it's very deep, and you don't realize it. And so one of my best friends gave me a book on humility, and there were things in there that I needed to discover and sit still. And so it was a great time to have some healing, I guess you could say, walking through that divorce. And I was always passionate about marriage, but what I found was walking through divorce and finding myself single again with a beautiful daughter, I found that the best marriage ministry was a singles ministry, because before you get married and partner with someone, it's important to become healthy and whole. More so than anything, knowing who Christ is and letting Him fill all those gaps of brokenness in you. Because if you take two broken people, which we're all broken, but it makes a marriage very difficult, and the only way for marriage to truly shine is what Christ gave us an example with laying His life down for the church. So that became a very big passion, like Joni mentioned, launched Significant and Single, and that has grown, and
that's super cool.
It's been a lot of fun loving on a bunch of single people and knowing that, hey, you don't need a significant other to live a significant life.
I think that's so important right now too, because on social media, it's like full of people that are looking for love, basically. And it's like sometimes you just want to shake people, like, if you only knew the one true love first, then it wouldn't be so, I don't know. But I love that. That's an awesome ministry.
That was really good. Well said.
That was really good.
Yeah. Are you guys
so
both
inspiring.
pastors or what?
all the Holy Spirit. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
nothing that I think back in the day I probably would have taken credit for a lot of things of stuff that I've done, but there are so many things over the years that I've seen. I'm like, man, because I was a make it happen type person,
Right.
where I would take credit, but now I'm like, all right, I see you
Yeah.
everywhere. It is amazing, some of the big things and the smallest little tiniest things that
Yeah.
he is in it all.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
just very thankful.
Something I've heard you talk a bit about that I think so good and so important back to, because there could be single people listening to this too, is especially in the Christian community, there's this tendency where you hear a lot growing up about teaching, hey, you're single, but let's get you married, versus, and you feel less than if you're single. And I've heard you talk
Yeah.
about that a
Yeah.
little bit. Do you want to share your
Yeah.
thought behind that?
Yeah, I think Christ gave us a great example. I mean, he was single himself, and there's many other people that did. And, he talks about it as saying, hey, you can be married or be single, but they're of equal status, right? You're not less than, you're not a problem to be fixed just because you're divorced. It's not like, oh, we're sorry for you, or maybe you're widowed. There's a lot of different reasons for singleness, or maybe a lot of times when you get past that 30 years of age, people are like, what's wrong with you, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna introduce you
in
to
our
my friend,
culture, for
right?
sure, yeah.
And the reality of it is, no, if you live on purpose and understand why God created you in that purpose, when you're living that out, then you can be solely focused on that mission. Now, I think God created someone, if he has marriage in for you, where it's no longer 1 + 1 = 2, right? It's 1 + 1 = 11, because there should be a synergy. And that's really why it's something when we started talking to each other as friends, where I was in this discovery, like, hey, do we have similar passions and missions? Is this going to be better, not for me,
Right.
not for her, right?
Right.
Because is this going to be better for the kingdom?
Yeah.
Ultimately, because I'm very happy, I'm very content in my singleness. So there's a great analogy, and I don't have the exact numbers, but Clydesdales are some of the largest horses, right? And so a single Clydesdale, I believe, can pull something around like 2,000 pounds or something like that, right? And you're like, wow, that's amazing. Well, if you pair it with another Clydesdale, you're like, okay, they can probably pull 4,000 pounds. It's impressive, right? Well, if you actually work with them, it's not 4,000 pounds. It's actually like 6,000 or 8,000 pounds.
Wow.
But what happens is if you train them and you get them in lockstep, in unity, where they are in harmony, and that's what God does, is
That's
he
really
blesses unity, and that's the power of marriage, is there's unity, and you are seen as one. And so if those Clydesdale act as one, they don't pull 8,000 pounds. They pull like over 20,000 pounds.
Wow.
There's this multiplier, this
That's crazy.
exponential factor that comes into place that I think is spiritual, that's outside of the physical. And I think that's the power of marriage. Yeah.
That's so good. That's like stuff I wish I would have heard before I got
All of us,
Yeah.
I know, right? And I remember talking to some girls about, they're all single, at one of the single events. And we were talking about how a lot of times we get married because we want the benefits of marriage. The kids and the family and just loving someone. And we make that what we look for and kind of the goal of like, this is why I want to get married. And none of those benefits are guaranteed to us.
Right.
These things that we want.
Yeah.
But the question we should be asking, or what we should be looking for, is like, who can I run on mission with? Like, who can I most effectively build the kingdom of God for? And that would change your perspective of who you would make your helpmate.
Yeah.
Who you would pick.
The other, you had said something that really spurred a thought, and it's going to come back to me eventually, around singleness. Oh, if you look at Genesis, it was the very first thing that God said that wasn't good. It wasn't good for man to be alone. Well, that wasn't necessarily specifically around just marriage, right? But I think we're designed to be in community, to be in relationship with each other. And friendships are very, very powerful, and having that family around you. And so if you are single, for whatever reason, make sure, like you said, the devil, all that he wants to do is to isolate you and make you feel that you are alone and no one's like you. And the devil, all he needs to do is take something that was true and twist it a little bit and get you to believe something. And if you accept a lie, then you'll believe that lie your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
And so being open, and I think that's what James talks about, is where healing happens, is when you can have an open heart and share things and confess things and be close with someone. That's where real healing happens.
That's good. You're pulling out some great stuff over here.
Yeah.
Do you want to come on to my
awesome.
podcast?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this is so good.
If you squeeze me, I'll pour things out.
Cool. You'll pour things out. Oh, I don't know. If I squeeze you, what might come out?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Let's get together.
Depends what I've eaten.
Yeah.
That made me think when we were talking about back to Genesis, and even back to what I was saying earlier about how the devil will use fear to distort, the spirit God gives us, that power, love, and sound mind. And back to the garden, I mean, the very first thing, it was the first FOMO, fear of missing out. Satan was like, hey, God knows when you eat this fruit, you will be like him. And it's kind of like, oh, I'm missing out on something more that I can be. And I feel like that's a lie that a lot of us, especially in our pursuit as Christians, we can get off track because we feel like we're missing out on something better than the order and the garden and the boundaries God has given us to live within. Yeah. And we want to go outside of that because it's a fear. Like, we think fear is being something terrifying. It's not. Just a fear of like, what if? Yeah. What if but that looks good. And so I think, again, it's he's got one tactic, and it's just when we can expose it and be aware of it, it's like
you can see it coming.
Yeah.
And I think insecurities, people, you can often tell someone who's pretty insecure by the way their behavior. Because those things are usually the things they're attacking on others. And I think that's fear. You're operating in fear, basically.
Fear of what other people think of you. So.
Fear of messing up, like wanting to be perfect. And I think a lot of people struggle with perfectionism, 100%. Especially if you're, and I grew up in a family that was, you had pastors. My dad was a pastor's kid, and you were expected to be a certain way. And if you weren't, you had to put on a facade of being perfect, but like that also puts like you have to be perfect to do anything. If I'm going to do something, I have to be perfect at it, because if I'm not, someone's going to see me fail, or I'm going to fail, and but yeah.
God, I don't know if you experienced like what Stacy's talking about, but same thing. I grew up, and I didn't realize this till much later in life as an adult. Like, I just wasn't authentic because I never felt like, same thing. I was the good church girl, and I wanted people to think, and it's not like I was a horrible human being, but I just never felt comfortable being fully transparent.
Yeah.
And that's even something like in the last several years, and I think it was part of my brokenness, like that came out. I was like, I'm just going to let people just see the good, bad, and the ugly, and let it be their problem if they got a problem with it.
Because this is your work.
Yeah, and that took me 40 years to figure that out. I mean,
I think what's powerful in that is when you are authentic and you do show your mistakes, your cracks, your failures. I think anybody else that you talk to, one, they can be authentic, but they're also saying, oh my goodness, me too.
Yeah.
And they take off their mask, and it's what God wants us to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, people are drawn to authenticity,
Yeah.
whether you notice it or not. You know, there's people that you come across, you're like, man, I love that. They're so
Yeah.
cool. They're
It
just
really
so
is true. Yeah.
who they are, unapologetically. You know, those are the people that I just want to be around, because you want to be like that. You know, you want to be genuine. You want to be,
I think
transparent.
it's like being free. Like you sense that freedom in them, and you're like, I want to be free like that.
I know. What does that feel like?
You
It's
can literally
true,
can
though.
say anything on your mind.
I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, transparent across the board. I always loved when people could just fluently speak,
Yeah.
you know, and just say what was on their mind. I'm like, I find it challenging to express what I'm actually thinking.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm thinking, but to express it, like, I've always been drawn to people.
I usually, before I hang out with people, like, I have to rehearse in my head, how am I going to say hi to, rather than just showing up and being like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, I can say hi. This is what I've been doing this week. And it's part of that, like, we're all wired differently.
I was gonna say I'm the opposite. Like
Yeah.
I just go in
You're just
guns
like-
blazing, and then I lay in bed at night like, what did I say?
Oh, no,
Oh my gosh!
I'll lay there and be like,
I should have said that.
shake it out, shake it out.
That. Yeah. Oh, man. We're odd.
Well, if you ask somebody I know, it's that red flag. I call us red flaggers because we're always like joking about having ADHD. We're like, that's a red flag for ADHD. But we're also like, everybody has ADHD in this day and age. So we're like, we just call it red flag. Everything's
red flag.
Lots of squirrels.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
You mentioned a healing journey and such. What were some of those steps along the way that helped you heal? Even the moments where you're like, oh man, I still needed to heal. That wasn't, I thought I was healed, but I wasn't.
I think what comes to mind when you were saying that was giving myself grace. Like just accepting where I was at. Because so many times, back to the performance, or maybe whoever was talking about that earlier, feeling like I should be somewhere further along than I was.
Yeah.
And just saying, no, I'm a hot mess right now. And that's okay. And I think that really strengthened my faith, because for me to accept I'm a hot mess or a work in progress actually requires a lot of trust in God that I won't always be a hot mess. And this is just a season and a period, and I will get through this, even though I couldn't see how, but just being gracious and letting God do the work, and me not trying to rush the process and jump into leadership too soon. I think that's a big mistake a lot of people make, and not even just ministry, but in another relationship. You know, if that's their story, jumping into another marriage too soon, or whatever it may be, because you feel like you need to make a big move in your life to move on from a hurt in your life. And I would say little moves are a lot wiser than big moves. Finding community again, which forced me to be transparent, getting connected with believers and letting people speak into my life. I think were some of the key things.
This is going to sound weird and random, but was there ever a moment that you were like, you had like an epiphany of like, oh, I'm healed? Or was it more of like just a slow, and you just realized that your traumas and things that used to come up in certain situations just were not happening anymore? Is it more like that for you?
Yeah, it was a slow progression.
Okay.
So things that used to trigger me or bring up that pain, and it's kind of like, I remember when specifically the divorce I was going through, I remember when the wound felt so raw. And I remember driving in my car where I would have those deep belly cries, like crying out, Like you hear about the morning, like something in my belly needed to come out,
Right.
and just crying out and thinking about things that were hurtful within the marriage. I would think about those, and it just felt like it was happening all over again. Or today, to bring it way fast forward, I can think about those things and it not even, I don't want to say not faze me, but there's not an emotional response, and I'm like, okay, I'm healed from that. But not every single thing was healed at the same time.
Right.
The things that hurt the deepest, some of those took a little bit longer.
Right.
And then there's not only the things that I needed to see healed that I could feel, like the pain of it. There were things that the way I thought about things needed to be healed and rewired.
Yeah.
And that comes back to
good.
trusting people again.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of healing, I think. It's like, okay, I don't feel the pain anymore, but I'm a little bit messed up in my thinking. Every person I met, I was like, oh, what do you want? You're not, that instant self-preservation, back to Lisa Turkers, because I love her. Back to the book.
Good.
Yeah, she's so good. I want to trust you, but I don't. There was something she said that I thought was so good. She said, in a healthy relationship, you need two things. You need to have safety and connection. And when somebody's been hurt in a relationship, you have a tendency to overlook one or the other, maybe for both, where sometimes people value wanting safety so much to feel safe, then they avoid connection. They're like, hey, I'm just going to push everybody away because I need to feel safe. And there's some people who overvalue connection, meaning I just want someone to love me.
Yeah.
I just want to be loved. So they overlook safety.
Interesting.
And I can say, looking back, I think
that's
that's where
good.
I was in choosing who I chose to marry. I was just wanting to be loved and have connection with somebody. And so I started overlooking red flags of safety, like healthy relationship patterns. Whereas now that I'm in a healthier, spot, I'm looking for both. I want to feel safe here, and I want to feel connected here. And if I don't have those two things, then red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag.
Different kind. Red flag.
I'm out of here.
Man, this is also good. Like, you're so articulate. You're saying everything that happens in my brain, but I'm like, I don't know words. So it's coming out great.
Oh, thank
Y'all
you.
sound
Thank you.
awesome.
I love it.
Because I have some really deep wounds as well.
Yeah.
There was never a moment where I was like, oh, I'm healed. It was just, and the way you articulated it, that's why I say that, because I've never known how to express that healing that just kind of comes. It just happens, like you said, when you release it to the Lord and allow Him to work in you. And like we said earlier, it's not like, I'm not just innocent. I'm not like, oh, Jesus put Band-Aids on me. Like, he does work in you too. Like, he sifts things around on you. But I told Kenneth, I said, I just, certain things that should be triggers, I just, like, I don't care. It's not that I don't care. It's not, I just don't think about it anymore. And so I just liked hearing you articulate that so well.
Yeah. And sometimes when I realized I was healed from it is because I was putting myself in a place of experiencing something. So it could be because I made a decision that day to go to church and be in community and engage in worship. And then all of a sudden, because I'm engaging in worship, I'm now recognizing like, oh, I'm in a better place now. Or as he and I were building our friendship and relationship, because I let the guard down and decided, hey, I'm going to explore trusting again and relationship again in a safe way and place. Because of our interactions, that was affirmation to me, like, oh, I'm healed in this now. And even back to the rewiring of our brain, do you mind if I give an example of like
Please, because I was going to bring something up.
Oh, okay.
Like, you're like, is he really that nice?
Oh, I wasn't going to bring that
Yeah.
up, but yeah, that's true. Go ahead. Do you want to?
No, that's your story.
Okay. Yeah. So when I first met Kyle, like first of all, he's a very engaging human being, has the most compassionate, gracious, giving heart. And when he talks to you, you feel like you're the only person in the room. And so when I experienced that with him, I was like, I'm just waiting for the mask to come off. Like, I was like, there's no way anybody is this nice. Yeah. He's this engaging with everybody. Like, I was very skeptical. Yeah. I thought, okay,
well, because you think, how can this be genuine?
How can this be genuine? Yeah. And that was part of it, even too, at the beginning, before we started like really building, our friendship.
It's the AC every time.
HVAC.
HVAC. False alarm.
Camera's still good.
Camera's still good. I just didn't believe that someone could be that nice. Mm-hmm. I genuinely did not think that. Yeah. And it really took some time. It took seeing him in different situations. And he didn't know this, but I was studying. I was watching. I knew some things like people at church pulling him aside for a conversation or this or that. And I'm like, I'm going to see how this goes down. How's he going to react in this situation? Meanwhile, he has no clue I'm doing that because I'm just like, But over time, because I saw consistency of behavior, I saw when I, and this is kind of going into the story that I was going to mention, when there was a situation, we were sitting on the couch having a conversation, and I honestly can't even remember what you said now, but it was something that, a similar phrasing that my ex-husband would have said that could have led into an unhealthy conversation. Yeah. And I was kind of abrupt with him, and I can't remember specifics, but I was triggered in that moment. And it was back to, I wasn't hurt, but there was something in the way I was thinking that I was like, when you say this, it means this. Therefore, I'm going to react this way because no one's going to talk to me that way again. Like, that's where my wiring came. And I was kind of short with him. And I got up and I just had groceries delivered. So it was kind of my exit out of this conversation. And as I'm putting away my groceries, because I feel like I took the time to heal, and even though that still needed to be rewired, because of the healing, I was able to recognize and take that situation. And in the moment, I'm processing. I'm like, Joni, he is not him. And what he was saying is not that. Mm-hmm. Therefore, you need to learn to change your response. Yeah. And I also knew this is a great opportunity to practice rebuilding trust and rebuilding, what does it feel like to be safe, right? So I'm putting away groceries, and he's like, I'll come help you. And he's putting away the groceries. And I'm a little bit nervous to have this because of triggers and bad wiring. I was afraid to even say anything. And I just stopped and I said, hey, look, I'm sorry. And I needed this because I need someone to rewire this reaction, because he had like groceries in his hand. In the moment I turned to him and was like willing, like, hey, let's have a conversation about this, he recognized that. And I think it's because you are in a healthier place, right? He immediately sets down the groceries. He faces me, touches me on the shoulders, and just made it a safe, and he goes, I'm listening. Like, that's all he needed to say. And it just felt like everything hard within me just melted in that moment. Yeah. And I knew, like, this is safe and I can say what I need to say. Mm-hmm. And I just apologized and said, I was triggered. Here's why I was triggered. And he didn't defend himself. He didn't minimize what I was saying. He just hugged me, accepted my apology. And he was like, I could have been more mindful of how he took personal responsibility, even though he didn't have to. He did nothing wrong. Yeah. This was my issue. I was owning, this is on me. But he made a decision to create safety and connection with me. in that moment. And I still have other triggers that come out of nowhere, but that, I mean, I felt healed.
Yeah.
Like I needed that. That was a different kind of healing,
Yeah.
you know, and he completely recreated that space for me.
Well, and like there's so many different aspects of that entire situation to have a good outcome. Like you having to basically taking your thoughts captive, which it talks about in the Bible. You having to do that, but then you being so like willing to see her where she was at, and even those small movements of just touching her shoulder, like huge small moments, like
it disarmed me.
Yeah.
And this goes to your 2 Timothy is, you know, power, love, and a sound mind.
Yeah.
Is you not operating in fear.
Yes.
Right? And this is an indicator
exactly
of
it.
being healthy.
Yeah.
Is you're no longer reacting emotionally out of fear, saying, oh my goodness, I can't do this. And you're slowing down because you're saying, hey, I'm of sound mind.
Yeah.
And having that conversation because you know the power, right?
Yeah.
And operating there. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and you had mentioned before there were certain things of because you have this relationship with Kyle that he's almost helping you heal those things because you're able to see a healthy response rather than, you know, what was before.
Yeah. It's definitely a rewiring. Yeah.
I had that with my husband, certain things, just even like with my relationship, just with my father, like seeing him as a dad, but also like how he cares for me, you know, in certain ways was healing, you know. And I love my father, so there's nothing there, but it's you know, there was just some things that I didn't even realize needed to be healed, you know.
Yeah.
So
Isn't it crazy? It's like every relationship that we have affects us in some way that we don't really think about until somebody else brings it out in us, and we're like, oh.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was there.
Oh, hello. Hello. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I think too, like the way that he responded to you is what I hope I do for my kids. The safety and connection, because you know, like there's a reason behind every behavior, and I'm finding that as you know, my kids get older and as I'm learning to be a parent, you know, that kids want connection. Yeah. And most of the time, any behavior that is either disrespectful or, you know, there's a reason. Yeah. And if you can stop and not react, but just breathe and respond, you not only teach them how to act, you're giving them that connection they need. Yeah. You know? That's so hard to do sometimes, especially when you're doing life and you're busy and, you know, like to stop and be like, okay, like I can tell you're, you know, like you said, like I'm listening. Yeah. Like, you know? Yeah. It's just such a huge, huge thing.
Yeah. It's powerful.
It was a big indicator because something that was important to me that I wrote down was I was looking for humility in someone, but also boldness. They weren't afraid to talk about the hard things. And when she did do that, and there's been multiple times where we've had hard conversations and I'm like, all right, this is good. She's not afraid to talk about the hard things. And they're not easy. You know, I want to run away and shut the conversation down. But I'm like, okay, let's walk through this right now. Here we go.
Let's not brush over them. Let's get through
and understand. And I think every opportunity in a relationship, it's either an opportunity to run and distance yourself, or it's an opportunity to go deeper in that relationship. Just like Christ did for us, right? We ran, we hid from him. That was our response. But he seeked after us, right? And he ultimately gave everything for us because relationship is critical. Like she said, it's a beautiful story about his love for us and that relationship that he wants to restore with us. And I think when you have kids and you're a parent, you understand that. And that was a conversation I had with my daughter, that I have to reiterate over and over and over again, that I value relationship over obedience. And even though when she's disobedient, right, I understand that it's like, okay, I need to slow down, because there's going to be a point in time where she's going to mess up or do something, and I want her to come to me,
Right.
Yeah.
because I'm going to be that safe person that can probably help her and walk her through it, versus someone else that doesn't genuinely truly care about her and going to care for her needs, right? And so that's the way God is to us, is we want to run, and instead we need to run to him as a father and say, God, I need you, help me, and get that connection back.
Yeah, that's good.
I'd be curious to hear from you guys, because I'm sitting here thinking about this, and as a single mom, there's lots of times where I just feel like I'm not enough, or I don't feel like I'm making the right decisions, and I don't have that partner like helping me, like how are we going to discipline this moment? And it just feels like I just feel like sometimes it's trial and error, sometimes I'm just too tired, but we always think the grass is greener. And I'd be curious, as moms with spouses, like, do you have similar struggles and thoughts about, like, man, am I messing this kid up right now?
Every
think
day.
Every day.
We talked about this a couple of episodes ago, I think, too,
Yeah.
about just feeling like an absolute failure every day, because, like, my fuse is about this short. And with 4 kids, like, if one irritates me, the next one that does something sets me off. And then I'm like, it's not their fault. And I'm just like, I turn into a crazy lady. I'm like, nobody's listening to me in this house. And they're like, I asked for a chip. Like, not really, but it just, I don't know. I feel like I'm severely messing them up. And there's moments, though, where I catch myself and I do, like, calm down, and I talk to them like a sane person instead of, crazy lady. But I don't know.
Well, I think it's good for our kids to see us not always be perfect and mess up, but the important part is us
The apologizing.
and saying, hey, what I should have done here is this. You didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
Made it a huge point to do that. Apologize to my kids. And it is hard, because you have to admit that you suck. It's like, I was really terrible in that moment. Like, I flew off the handle the other day over, it didn't even have to do with the kids, and I wasn't yelling at them, but just the way I reacted in, like, a fit of rage.
Yeah.
I swear I'm, like, premenopausal or something. So I was like, ah! Just crazy. And then, like, I took a deep breath, and I was like, okay, guys, listen, that was not okay. I'm sorry I reacted that way. And I was like, I don't want y'all to think that it's appropriate to react that way in anger. I was like, I was real mad. Still not okay. I was like, I'm still calming down. It's hard, man.
Yeah. That makes me think of a story, and I've told it just recently, like 2 or 3 times. This was a couple of years ago. But Alec came and got in bed with me, and he was just Mr. Wiggles, and I was just tired. I just wanted to sleep. And I was getting so irritated. I felt the anger. I felt Mom Hulk.
Dude,
coming out.
It's a thing.
And like I
It
wanted
bubbles.
to scream and yell. Like I knew I did, but I was just like, I was praying, I was trying to stay calm, and I just go, Jesus help me. And Alec turns around and he goes, Jesus no help you. I was like, and I was like,
Goodness.
Jesus is helping your mama right now, because he had no idea, like
A duct tape roll came out.
yeah, I was like, all right.
Jesus no help you.
Jesus no help you.
That's
Oh
funny.
my
Like,
goodness.
kid.
Kids say the funniest things too. And sometimes it's in those moments when we're like at our peak.
Yeah.
Oh man.
If your mom loses her cool, you're like, you better go get in the bunker or
Yeah.
something, because it's not
Yeah.
going to be good.
Yeah.
My problem is, like, we're really sarcastic with our kids, and so they in turn are sarcastic, and so
no.
it's a lot of just, like, sarcastic banter back and forth. But sometimes they'll try to start it when I'm, like, not in the mood. I'm
Yeah.
actually telling them to do something. And so then I'm like, I'm so inconsistent with my children, because then, like, they say something snarky, I'm like, what'd you just say to me? And they're like, oh, like, they said it yesterday and we laughed, and then today I'm like, what? So I'm like, Jesus help me.
Yeah.
Don't tell Alec I need help. I don't need
Are you the sarcastic mom?
Seriously.
Down to business.
My
mom?
sister-in-law says, that's good, keep them on their toes. And I'm like, I don't think that's good.
I don't know if that's good.
I don't want to be this way.
Oh,
Oh, man.
Kids.
Parenting, it's a trip.
I'm telling you.
It definitely, especially with strong-willed kids that are very bold and learning to deal with their own emotions. You know, you feel like you are the regulator for everyone.
Right.
And that is exhausting.
Yeah.
Because you have to do it for yourself in order to teach them.
I think I don't do it for myself. That's why I'm crazy. I'm like trying to regulate my husband and 4 kids, and then by the time it gets to me, I'm like,
yeah, that makes it, when you say the grass is greener,
Yeah.
not that we would ever not want our husbands,
Yep.
but there are times where it's like, oh, that must be nice
Yeah.
to just have you.
Just do it the way you want to do it.
Right.
dude, there
Yeah.
have been times in our marriage where I have like hated him, and I've been like, it would just be better to do this on my own. Do I really feel that way? No. Like, what am I gonna do? Get a job? No. So I feel that.
But yeah, so it's like I think it goes,
Yeah.
because sometimes your partner will just like, discipline in a moment that you wouldn't have done it that way, or,
Yeah.
And that's tricky too.
Yeah.
Learning, and being respectful
Yes.
to that, and also being on the same page, and man.
I'm curious if you experienced this. So, and I know this is back to being like a stepmom, like coming in, and I know that it was Brian's kids, but you definitely would have witnessed what I'm about to talk about. So disciplining kids can be challenged in a, what am I trying to say?
Nuclear.
No, my situation. I don't like, I was about to say broken home, and I cannot stand that term.
Bonus parent home?
No, like, so a situation where you're divorced and you share custody with your kids. That's what I'm trying to say, but I can't think of the term.
Co-parent?
Co-parenting, thank
Okay,
you.
okay.
Why could I not think of that?
I don't know.
Where you're like, oh, what's wrong with you?
I mean, I couldn't figure it out
you were
either.
articulate earlier, Joni. Get it together.
It's just going downhill from here, Alyssa. Where like I have a certain way of disciplining, so he will go
Sure.
back to his dad, and things like even just how he eats or bathroom behaviors, like all the things you're trying to establish, and if there's not consistent routine on both sides or you're not aligned, there's never even opportunity to come together and be like, hey, let's get an agreement here. Can make it even more challenging. I feel like I'm doing double time.
Yes.
Anytime, I don't know. Did you guys experience that, or was it pretty consistent?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as a step parent, there were certain things that I felt maybe I didn't need to step in certain things.
Yeah.
But we did do a pretty good job, and for the most part, like, especially when they were younger, like, doing our best to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And if we weren't, we communicated.
Yeah.
As best we could, and I mean, I love their mom, so our situation was always a good situation,
Right.
but there were definitely times where we didn't agree, and now one thing I will say that was amazing was that their mom always allowed me as the parent here in our home, and then I remember specifically one time, one of the girls, I was correcting them in something, and it was I don't even remember what it was, but she had come in the house to pick the girls up, but instead of like, she just stood back and waited, because in that moment, like, that spoke
was in
volumes to
your
me,
home,
because
yeah.
it was like, you're the parent here. She was ready to, like, as a mom, she wanted to make sure, but she stood back and she waited, and that made me feel like I had a place.
Yeah.
That's but I said that to say, I don't know where I was going. But yes,
okay.
I mean, I feel like I'm a different. I parent differently than she does, and I see that more now with my younger kids. But doesn't say that how she parented was wrong.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was just different. So there was a little bit of difference there, but at the same time, like we had to be on the same page as, you know, Brian, their dad, you know, for them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
Did
amazing
that
though that
answer?
you, that answered my question.
Okay.
That's amazing though that you have that dynamic that you do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that's not
made
to
it
say
easy.
that it wasn't challenging
Right.
sometimes, you know, but I think pushing through it and communication is key, you know.
Yeah.
And I always did feel like I could be open, you know, and call and talk. And there've been times where I would, you know, there was something that came up that we were dealing with here that I went over there and we talked for hours and she helped me, you know,
Wow.
like, because, you know, she knows her kids more than I did, you know, and that helped me, you know, get
Know
through
how to
that.
love them.
Yes.
And be there for
exactly,
them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So 10 years now, and
Yeah.
now they're like adults.
Yeah.
Well, they are adults.
That's amazing.
But, so,
Well, they could not have had a better bonus mom.
oh,
Yeah.
I hope they feel that way.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I have no doubt.
I mean, I feel blessed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even imagined myself as a stepmom, you know,
Yeah.
back when I was single. And, like, I think about it and I wouldn't have pictured myself,
Yeah.
you know, but I did it,
Yeah.
you know, and it was always blessed. I always felt like God was in it.
Yeah.
You know, I came from, I said this the other day, that something about being a stepmom helped me, like, heal a child from a broken home. Because you see, like, I'm able to see things in them, you know,
Yeah.
and, like, do my best to help nurture those things. Because I know that hurt. Even though you feel like, I remember growing up saying, oh, I'm not hurt from my parents being divorced, or I don't deal with that, you know. I didn't realize until I was older that there were some things that I did have to heal from that I didn't realize, you know.
Yeah.
So I just being able to love them as a stepmom
Yeah.
did help heal
Yeah.
that, because
Wow.
it was like, you know, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But
There's been kind of a theme though, like God never wastes a hurt
You
ever.
never wasted
Yeah.
her. You're right.
So it's like
it's
all the things that you went through
Yeah.
coming out now, you know, and that
yeah,
it's not wasted, you know, it benefits somebody else.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a beautiful analogy you want to share about kintsugi.
No, you take that one.
There's an art, I don't know if you've heard of kintsugi before, but it's a Japanese art, and it's pottery
Yes.
that's been
I
broken,
heard
and to
this.
be honest, it should just be thrown away. The pottery's not worth anything, right? But you could glue it, you could put it back together kind of thing, and okay, it's all right. But they don't just use regular glue. Instead, they use something more valuable than the pottery itself. To be honest, it makes it invaluable. They use gold. And that's what Jesus does to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he says, hey, don't just fix yourself with just the temporary glue
Yeah.
or something that's
Make it better.
going to hide the cracks. Instead, he uses gold to highlight the cracks. And he says, hey, no. Show your brokenness.
Yeah.
Because we're all broken, but show who healed and filled in all those cracks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's the Holy Spirit that does
Yeah.
that work. And so it's a beautiful thing, and it makes that pottery now not worth just a few dollars. It makes it worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I actually shared that. It was like a picture of that on Facebook several years back, and it pops up every now and again. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love this.
Katsuge!
This podcast has been
I'm not even
say
going
it?
to try and say that.
Kintsugi. So this is way off topic, but earlier there was a glare on your hat, and I just now am reading it. I thought it said thrift.
This
I
is
was
my
like, what's
thrift
with
hat.
the thrift hat? It says Thrive.
Thrive. So, do you want to tell them about Thrive?
What's
marriage?
Thrive?
Or-
Tell them about it.
So, it's kind of a theme in our church. It started with the Thrive Marriage Conference. So our church every year does a big marriage conference. And then it's been on his heart as the singles leader to do a conference for singles. And so just playing on that same theme of Thrive, he just executed and launched the first Thrive Singles Conference in February.
That's
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
And then our vision is to eventually have Thrive Family, right?
That's
for
awesome.
parenting and kids and such. So
Yeah.
kind of a trifecta, affecting the whole relationship side of things. But
That's really cool.
instead
That's
of
cool.
most people are trying to just survive through life, and we're not
Right.
designed to survive,
No.
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
yep. We talk about all the crazy things of singleness that you walk through, whether it's dating or just, being with yourself and just Jesus,
Yeah.
or navigating, all those big things, making decisions by yourself. That is
Yeah.
challenging when you have a counterpart to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What are your thoughts? Kind of thing. That's a huge help. But walking through that singleness is comes with its own challenges, but it also comes with a lot of benefits too.
Yeah.
And understanding that it's great to be single. And
Yeah.
so don't think less than of yourself. And so we have fun. We did a 1-day conference with a huge dance party afterwards.
A glow
and
stick.
Oh, fun.
it
Dance party. It was fun.
with a big candy bar. Oh my
Heck yeah.
goodness. It was.
That's
it
so
was
cool
awesome.
to hear this, because I feel like
Yeah.
churches just get so blah with their programs, and it's like singles programs are like you meet once a month and go to
Go
dinner, and you're like,
Right.
cool. So
Yeah.
it's cool to
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
something
Investing in them.
in action. Yeah.
Because-
And it's funny too, we'll have people interested in the group, but they're kind of like, I've heard this sentiment several times of, I'm not trying to look for a date, and we have to explain,
Like,
like
that's not
no,
what it
this
is.
is not,
Yeah.
the focus is
Yeah.
great if you meet somebody, but that's not
And
the
maybe
focus.
that is the focus in some other churches, and
Yeah.
maybe that's why they end up being weird, because
Yeah.
people go in expecting to
Yeah.
it be a dating pool or
Right.
something.
I was
know.
listening to
Yeah.
this podcast, The Heart of Dating, and this guest speaker, Annie, I can't remember her last name, but she's written some books, and she's in her 40s, never married, single, and she's come into this place to really start owning it. And she pointed out, I thought this was really great, and I'm probably going to butcher it a little bit, how she was explaining it. But she feels like churches in general, so much of when they're teaching singles about marriage, it's like, hey, this is when you get to have sex.
Yeah.
And it makes
Oh,
it like
yeah.
that's the end goal. So it's kind of like this motivator of like, I just got to get to marriage because there's this really great thing that I really want to experience. And
Oh my
she's
gosh.
like, I
You're,
feel like,
speaking to my teenage hood
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
oh Lord. She's like, her opinion is the conversation should be like, hey, let's talk about the desire and passion for sexual purity. Because whether you're single or you're married, we have to practice sexual purity. It
Yeah,
just
because
looks
the purity
different.
doesn't end when you get
doesn't
married.
end.
You
Right.
have to keep that going.
Right.
Or
And so
otherwise
you
you're in for a...
Right. So you have to start the talk around, specifically the sex topic should be like, hey, let's start with the framework of let's choose sexual purity.
Yeah.
Right.
And in my singleness, that's what I'm striving for.
That's really good.
And in my marriage, that's what I'm going to strive for.
Yeah.
And start teaching around that versus like, hey, there's this one thing that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I thought that was really good.
That is
is
good.
really good.
It's like, I feel like it's all a learning process. And it's like, I look back on my teenage years when it was just like, don't have sex because it's bad. But then the minute you get married, you're supposed to be like, sex is good.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
well, which is it? Like, you told me it was bad forever. Now I'm supposed to like it? I don't know what's happening. Pick a lane. But,
Pick a lane.
Pick a lane and stay in it.
oh, Christians.
Wow.
Well, and the goal is defining who we are in Christ first.
yes.
And like we were talking about at the very beginning, I had heard an analogy that if you're running to Christ, like a race, and you just look to the side and you see someone running with you. Those are the people to team up with,
That's good.
or to marry, or
Yeah.
whether it's you want to go with people who are going the same direction.
That's
I
really
wish
good.
I would have been more on that level when I got married, because we
Yeah.
got married pretty young. I was 22. And you just think you're so grown in your early 20s, and then you're not at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I get to like 35, and I'm like, man, I still don't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
And you change
But
so much.
You really do.
And I really feel like I'm hearing this a lot now that I'm in my 40s too. It's like, this is not funny, but you'll know what I mean when I say this is funny. Because I'm like the single mom at the daycare. Well, I cannot tell you how many mothers, like we've gone to Chick-fil-A and all of a sudden they're just kind of like, yeah, I think I'm going to leave my husband or whatever. And it's like they're coming to me because I'm like this.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said it's not funny, right? But a common thing that I will hear, because of course I immediately back to one of my triggers think like, oh, you have an experience like I have. And it's like, okay, I'm going to walk you through this. But as I'm hearing and listening, and there's two sides to every story, it sounds more like, yeah, we just kind of grown apart, and I'm kind of like,
Yeah. You're like, that's...
yeah, that's tough. You're growing apart. Did something happen? No, I just think we're two different people. We got married. I'm hearing this whole, we got married when we were so young.
You are two different people, but that's
you
why
are
I
two
wake
different
up and
people.
choose each other every day
Yeah.
and like work it
Right.
out.
And I heard John Maxwell say something. John Maxwell. And it was about leadership, but I think it applies to relationships. He's like, you can't just grow with people. You have to grow towards each other, for it to be strong. So
That's
I think
good.
like when you're young, you just have to face the fact, who I am today will not be who I am in 10 years. Neither will they. And understand they are going to be a different person.
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, you will be a different person. I'm going to be a different person. So how about every day we start getting to know who each other are going to be and let's grow together. Where when we don't have that lens, we're naturally going to grow.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you growing this way or are you going to grow this way?
I think a lot of times people's growing isn't necessarily maturity. They're just growing in a different direction instead of maturing. And so when you are
good. Yeah.
married and you're both growing and maturing, that's where it makes the difference. Because like I feel, when I self-reflect, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty much the same as I was back then. And I think in core values, yes. But of course, things grow and mature, especially like my walk with the Lord. And then I look at Kenneth, though, and he's not the same person that I married. But thank God, because there's so much growing, maturing that he did.
Wow.
I mean, in the first 7 to 8 years of our marriage, and now we've been married almost 14 years. And I'm like, we're the same people, but two completely different people at the same time.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of maturing, and it was a lot of pruning. So the growing hurts, though. Like you have to trim back things that are no good, and that hurts because it feels good to just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it's so much sacrifice in a marriage. Like
Yeah.
they always say give 50-50, but then it's 100-100. Like everybody
Yes.
has to be giving 100, and
That's good.
not that we're great at it, but
Yeah.
I love what John says when he talks about the vine and the branches and such. And so he cuts off the things and throws them in the fire, but he still talks about he prunes so that way you bear much more fruit.
Yeah.
So even the things that he loves, he still trims.
oh, that's good. Yeah.
That's really good.
So when you find those areas that he's trimming, you're like, oh man, he loves me because he's trimming me.
Yeah. That's good.
That is good.
All of these churchy, like, yeah, that's good. It makes me think of that podcast. Have you seen the ones with that woman that married the prince?
What?
Oh, Meghan Markle.
Oh.
Have you seen the
that
clips? Like,
prince?
yes.
He's not a prince anymore, I don't think.
Is he not?
I don't know, technically. I mean,
Yeah.
I think they
I'm
tried
not
to
up
weasel
on
their
my-
way back in
my
the royal family.
royalty, hierarchy.
Who knows?
Who
I
knows?
don't know. I just, those clips that I send her clips of it, and I'm like, this makes me want to punch everyone in the face. Because the one girl, the interviewer's like, her eyes are closed the whole time, and she's like, yes, yes. I'm like, I can't take it. And then he's saying it, I'm like, yes, yes, that's so good.
It is good.
It was good, I know.
No.
Try not to sound like a podcaster over here.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Well, there's a certain, like you said, you want to, you're, whenever you find your person and who you choose to spend your life with and who the Lord brings into your life.
Yeah.
You want safety and connection. And there's such a security when you do have that with someone, even in those times where you're so like mad, like I do not like this, like there's, that nothing's going to change that connection. But yes, you have to walk through those things and let the Lord work through, but you have that commitment and there's such a security, and that's part of marriage. It's like that you have that other person, and both of you are not going to stop trying. And even if like maybe there is a time, like you said, like we're just growing apart, like you made a vow, to do all you can,
Yeah.
On that same note, I kind of want to encourage anybody that might be listening that's already married and doesn't feel that, like you said, we feel like we're growing apart. It can be worked on, because I don't feel like Kenneth and I were always at this place. In fact, I know we were not always in this place of feeling like it was safe to talk to each other. And like I said, we've been married 14 years this year. And just this last year, Kenneth has talked to me and told me things that he swore to himself he would never bring up to anyone.
Wow.
Because he didn't think it was important and he didn't need to. And so 14 years of working together to make this a thing. And he's just now showing me some of the deepest parts of himself. And so I don't know if that's encouraging, but sometimes it just takes time. And if you're in a marriage that is not at that point, it's all right. Like, I think a lot of people jump into marriage and then within the first 2 years, they're like, oh, it's not, he didn't put his hand on my shoulder and tell me this was a safe place to talk. Like, it's okay. He can get there,
Yeah.
But then at the same token, you do have to be kind of careful, because then you have girls that just jump into a marriage because they're like, oh, he'll get there. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Don't
take
try
on a
to
project.
change the guy, like, this is for my already married friends. Like, it can happen. Lots of prayer and lots of working together.
Yeah. When you were telling that story, it just made me think, could you imagine, like, if you gave up right before the breakthrough?
Yeah.
Like, right
Honestly,
before it got really good.
For us,
Yeah.
that would have been about 8 years ago. And now, like, our marriage is better than I could have imagined when we first got married. And I can honestly say that I love him more now than when we first got married.
That's amazing. That's such a good testimony.
And we know the worst part of each other. Like, that's the crazy thing. And I don't know. I think God knows what he's doing when you're both working together through something, and he's got his hand over it. But
that's going to encourage a lot of people.
I hope so.
That's really good.
I hope y'all's story encourages a lot of people. I loved every part of it. And
Still writing.
I just like you guys. I know. That's why I'm like, I like it.
Story's just getting started.
Still ready.
I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
I know we kind of planned a podcast, and then we planned to not, and then we threw it back on the
And we
table
just
and
said,
added
let's
Kyle, and
Thanks,
it's
thanks
just
for picking me off the side of the street.
Yeah,
and
anytime,
adding me to your
yeah.
podcast.
hobo ever. No, it was good. So thank you guys again.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, and also, what's the name of your podcast? We were going to talk about that.
Yeah, I have a podcast. It's called Redeeming Podcasts. You can find me on Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, Apple, all the places. And essentially, it's just sharing. It's new. It's newly launched. I've shared parts of my story and just the redemption process God's taken me through. And what I see for the podcast is just, and you guys really inspired me, That's a whole nother story that we don't have time for today. But getting people on the show, because we all have a story about how God's redeemed some area of our life.
Absolutely.
And I think having these conversations, people need to hear it.
Yeah. Well, it's because people are isolating, like we talked about, and they need to know that they're not the only ones.
That's right.
So that's good. So we can link that in the little show notes,
Perfect.
and we can add that to our Instagram and all that. But
Cool.
You got anything else?
No.
Feeling good? Feeling groovy?
Feeling groovy.
Well, one more time, thank you guys.
Yes, thank you.
And we will see you all at the next get together.
All right.